This I had already told you about the quotes by Sir William Osler. Syphilis stimulates every other disease. It is the only disease necessary to know. When one then becomes an expert in dermatology, alienism, laryngology, internist, diagnostician, it is also called as the greatest imitator among all known diseases. So this I had already told you regarding the acquired syphilis. Early acquired syphilis is divided into primary, secondary and early latent. Then late syphilis comes as late acquired, late latent and tertiary syphilis and congenital syphilis. So pathogenesis also I think I had told you in the last class that early syphilis is an infectious disease while the late syphilis is non-infectious. Treponema pallidum is unusual in a number of respects. This I think already we had discussed because it includes a very small genome, very limited number of genetic capabilities are seen in Treponema pallidum. It has an inability to grow under in vitro culture conditions. It is microaerophilic. There is apparent paucity of OMPs, structurally complex periplasmic flagella, and ability to evade host immune response. Cause disease over a period of years to decades. This again another look at the pathogenesis of the disease. The organism enters via a trauma or breakage in the genital or oral mucous membrane, which attaches. There is attachment of the organism. Then the organism goes to the lymphatic tissue, resides and multiplies in the perivascular lymphatics, then moves to the lymph nodes and blood tissues. Periarteritis and endarteritis may occur, and ulcer is the result of endarteritis that occurs usually starting at the
ये
of
आंसर
inoculation.
बैकग्राउंड में छोटे छोटे जो होते हैं
हाँ बट नाइस तब
The
वीडियो वो
patient
वॉइस
usually
कॉल भी कर सकते
becomes asymptomatic
हैं
in
अगर ये ऑडियो ऑफ कर दो तो वॉइस कॉल भी कर सकते हो
अटेंडेंस सबसे रहेगा
2 to 12 weeks after the appearance of secondary syphilis lesions, and it enters into the stage of latency. Recurrence of secondary syphilis lesions can also keep on occurring during this period of latency. So we will start with primary syphilis. Primary syphilis, see, after the entry of the organism, this can happen in between 9 to 90 days of the inoculation. But the usual thing which is seen in between 2 to 3 weeks, that is 14 to 21 days after the inoculation of Treponema pallidum, there will be a dusky red painless papule that appears at the site of inoculation. Within a few days, the papule grows into a size of 0.5 to 1.5 centimeter, and later on this ulcerates. This ulceration results in an ulcer which is variable in size, but rarely it is more than 2 centimeters. Means it should be less than 2 centimeter. Usually it is in less than 2 centimeter. This ulcer is also called as the primary chancre, hard chancre, Hunterian chancre. So this chancre is round in shape with well-defined raised or rolled out edges. And it may merge with the surrounding tissue. The floor of the ulcer is clean and dull red granulation may be seen along the ulcer. It is non-tender to touch and has a button-like indurated feeling when you touch it. So there is little discomfort to the patient as the ulcer is painless. And the most characteristic feature is the induration that is present at the base of the ulcer. So it is hard to touch. When you feel, it may feel like a button. So it, again, the name hard chancre was given based on that only. The chancre is usually tends to be single in number. Sometimes some people manipulate the ulcer, which causes secondary infection to the ulcer, and there may be other signs of inflammation due to secondary infection causing exudation of serous fluid and other features. But as such, if no manipulation has been done, it will be a clean ulcer. This is the ulcer that is seen in primary syphilis, which is also called as the primary chancre or the hard chancre. Then secondary to the ulcer, there will be regional lymphadenopathy within 7 to 10 days of development of ulcer, and usually the lymphadenopathy is unilateral. The lymph nodes may appear small, discrete, non-tender, firm and rubbery in consistency, and the lymph nodes in syphilis do not show suppuration. Sites of most common sites of primary chancre in males is the coronary sulcus. This is in decreasing order of incidence that is seen. Most common is the coronary sulcus, then glans penis, prepuce, frenulum, shaft of penis, and inside the meatus, that is intrameatal. While the most common sites seen in females are the decreasing order are labia, pochette, urethra, clitoris, cervix, perineum, and the vaginal wall. Now sometimes this hard chancre may be present on the inner surface of the prepuce. So what that may do, it may result in snapping of the prepuce on retraction. This is a particular sign which is also called as Dory flap sign. What are the extragenital sites of primary chancre? These are in decreasing order, are again the oral cavity, anorectal area, breasts, digits, lips, tongue. Tonsillar zone can be involved by kissing and oral sex, and anal lesions are being seen among homosexuals, which may be painful and atypical in appearance. Digital lesions can also be seen in previous years it was seen in medical professionals also, like dentists. So until and unless the morphology of the lesion will be a clean ulcer, but sometimes there may be a manipulation on the part of the patient which causes modification of the lesions due to drying of exudates, and due to secondary infection the lesion may be painful sometimes. At times the lesions may not be visible even because there is so much edema due to secondary infection that the patient is unable to retract the prepuce, and it may be present inside the covered region. Okay, now coming to some atypical forms of primary chancre that are also seen. These are chancre amyloidosis, which is enlargement and hardening of one tonsil. Chancre penetritium, which is chancre on the digit, already I have told. Indurative swelling of the labia majora, scrotum, prepuce, and chancre redux. Chancre redux is relapse of ulcer at the site of origin chancre. However, it is not seen in primary syphilis, it is seen in secondary syphilis. So sometimes in cases of individuals who have other disorders like HIV or have very poor immune status or are very severely immunocompromised, there will be a relapse of ulcer at the site of original primary chancre. This is seen in syphilis, secondary syphilis. Now, the primary chancre, once the primary chancre is there, what happens to the primary chancre? The primary chancre heals spontaneously without treatment also. It takes about 3 to 8 weeks, leaving behind a thin atrophic scar. With adequate treatment, the ulcer heals. With adequate treatment, the ulcer heals in 1 to 2 weeks times only. But the lymphadenopathy may persist for longer duration also. Now coming to the histopathological changes, initially there will be epidermal hyperplasia and there is intense lymphohistiocytic and neutrophilic infiltrate around the region. Clinical induration is because of large amount of mucoid content that is seen in the layers. There will be presence of fibrin exudates, necrotic tissue and polymorphoneutrophils with absent or very thin epidermis below. The dermis shows edema and mixed inflammatory infiltrate. The important feature that is seen is in the blood vessels, which show endarteritis, also called as endoarteritis obliterans, due to proliferation of the endothelial cells, as well as periarteritis is also seen. Using silver strains, the Treponema pallidum can also be demonstrated in histopathological. However, this is rare. Not. So this is how. So this is how the primary chancre looks, and this is an infective stage of the disease. During this stage, if the person has any contact with some other person, they also can get the disease. So what happens if this gets healed? Next stage of the disease is secondary syphilis. Secondary syphilis, it begins 2 to 12 weeks after the appearance of primary syphilis, that is after the appearance of primary chancre. How this happens? It happens because of hematogenous dissemination of treponemes during the evolution of disease. So this type of syphilis is also called as the disseminated syphilis. There is another term called as syphilis dMli, which denotes those cases where the primary syphilis stage is absent and the patient directly presents with features of secondary syphilis. However, this is a rare condition. Mostly the patients will show some or other features of primary syphilis. So secondary syphilis represents, already I have told, dissemination into many organs of the body. The commonly involved tissues are the skin, mucous membranes and lymph nodes. Other organs that may be involved are bones, ocular system, nervous system, abdominal organs also, and constitutional symptoms like low grade fever, malaise, headache, anorexia may also be seen in secondary syphilis. Most common type of involvement seen is the mucocutaneous involvement. So there will be mucocutaneous, means the mucosa and the cutaneous involvement, and what all lesions may be seen are macule, papule and pustule. Macule is also called as the macular syphilid, papule is also called as the papillary syphilid, and pustule is also called as the pustular syphilid. And there will be some other lesions which are called as mucous membrane lesions. Okay. Then there will be systemic symptoms, and there will be lymphadenitis and other organs of the body, like the other organ systems. What all features will be seen? This we will read in secondary syphilis. Okay. So what are the characteristic? The macular syphilis, also called as the roseolar syphilis. So this is the earliest eruption to become noticeable, and it is an evanescent type of uh, eruption. It appears at about 8 weeks and appears as pinkish or coppery red, discrete and non-scaly macules. Evanescence means they may be present, and they may very easily disappear by themselves. So they may be present, then they may not be present. It is just like how the urticaria lesions are there. So it is, those lesions are called as evanescent. How the lesions will be? They will be pinkish or coppery red. However, in Indians you will see grayish type of lesions. Not, it will be like coppery red, but due to our skin color, they will look like little grayish. Grayish like lesions will be seen, and they will be discrete. Discrete means they will be separate from one another, and there will be no scale attached, because that is why it is non-scaly. What are the most common sites that are involved are the trunk, shoulder, flexor aspects of upper arms, and palms and soles may be involved. See, this is an example of macular syphilis. In the palms and sole, macular lesion will be there. However, this is a picture which is showing few macular lesions. Others are, some have gone into the papular syphilis variety. So there will be similar lesions which will be coppery red without any, and they will be not raised from the surface of the skin, and it will be macular syphilis. Then comes the second, is the papular syphilis. Papular syphilis is the most characteristic rash of secondary syphilis. It may involve from macular rash through a maculopapular stage. Maculopapular stage means few lesions will be macules, few lesions will be papules. Later on, most of the lesions will become papules. Okay. So how the it is also the most common rash that is seen at the time of diagnosis in most of the patients. So how the papules will look? The papules are again dark red to grayish. Grayish, in most of the Indians you will notice it as grayish. So grey to dark red, and usually less than 1 centimeter in size, and they are firm to feel and associated with scale. Remember about the macular rash, it was not scaly, but the papular rash or the papular syphilis is scaly. So where you can find more of these lesions is over the, again same regions, trunk, extremities, face, genitals, and sometimes may have a annular or sarcinate pattern also of the arrangement of these lesions. And sometimes a typical arrangement called linear variety, which is seen in the forehead near the hairline, it also called as the corona veneris, that is linear arrangement along the forehead near the hairline. So this is the characteristic papular rash. They may be papular syphilis that may be seen. These are few of the lesions. However, this hand lesions, few lesions may be papular, few lesions may be macular, that is shown in the picture. Now variants of papular rash are the follicular lesion, that is the lesions will be associated with or are present at the base of the hair follicle. So there will be follicular distribution, called as follicular lesion. Annular, round like arrangement of the lesions. Corimbos pattern is there. Corona veneris I have already told. Condyloma lata, and papulo-ulcerative lesions. Papulo-ulcerative means the papules will ulcerate slowly. A special type of papular lesion that is seen over the intertriginous areas in secondary syphilis patients is also called as condyloma lata. This is a typical name that has been given to papules over the moist intertriginous areas Here the papules tend to coalesce to form large fleshy masses with flat tops and broad base, which are called as condyloma lata. This is a picture of showing condyloma lata. There, due to intertriginous areas, there will be maceration of the lesions and they may appear grayish white and can be eroded also. Sometimes there will be exudation of fluids also from these lesions. These lesions are highly infectious lesions. So what are the common regions where you will find the condyloma lata? Are perianal area in between the thigh and scrotum, that is the genitocrural folds, near the vulva, perineal regions. Sometimes they may be seen in the axilla also, and in many immunocompromised patients they may be seen inside the mouth also. Okay, inside the mouth they may be present as fissured condyloma, means fissures will be present in between the lesions, called as fissured condyloma lata, at the commissures of the mouth they may be seen. Then again, papular lesions that may be seen in over the scalp give rise to moth-eaten alopecia. See, this is a picture of moth-eaten alopecia. Left one. So there will be acuminate follicular papules over the scalp, which are responsible for loss of hair. This loss of hair appears as irregular patches of non-scarring hair loss. That is, non-scarring or non-cicatrical alopecia will be seen, and most commonly it will be present in the occipital and the parietal regions of the scalp. This is called as moth-eaten alopecia. Then coming to the nail involvement, due to papular syphilis in the nail matrix or nail bed, features like pitting, splitting of the nail, onycholysis, shedding, and distortion of the nail bed can occur. This is secondary to the papular syphilis which develops in the nail matrix. Now another one is the Buschke-Ollendorff sign. Buschke-Ollendorff sign is, it is a sign that can be elicited by pressing with a sharp blunt object over the papules of secondary syphilis. The sharp blunt object, usually what we use is the head side of the pin. All pin you have, if you have seen, there is a sharpened size, the other size that is present opposite side, which has a little small head. When you press over the papular lesions of syphilis with that head, there will be a deep tenderness that is elicited. The patient will say that it is severely painful. Why this is seen? This occurs because of end arthritis. There is end arthritis in the lesions of syphilis which causes pain. Coming to the pustular syphilis. Pustular syphilis is, this evolves from the papular lesions due to again endarteritis obliterans. ठीक है. Secondary to endarteritis obliterans, there will be necrosis which causes development of pustular syphilis. ठीक है, and tend to develop in those patients who are debilitated. The lesions may be rheumoid and may show heaped up crusts also called as a malignant syphilis. Rare form. It is a rare form which shows deep cuts, ulcerations, and there may be visceral involvement as well as severe toxemia may be seen. And these lesions can be fatal. However, it is not commonly seen in immunocompetent patients. It is most commonly seen in those which are immunocompromised. This is the rupeoid type of lesion of pustular syphilis. Now, what will happen to these lesions? The macular lesions heal without trace. There may be some hyperpigmentation or hypopigmentation that may be associated after the healing of the lesions. And these are the various terms that are used for the leukoderma coli, anatoderma, secondary anatoderma, or leukomelanoderma of palms and soles are the terms which are given to hypopigmented lesions if developed after healing of the secondary syphilis lesions. The macular lesions usually heal very well without leaving any trace. The papillary lesions may heal with similar hyper and hypopigmentation. However, the pustular lesions heal with scarring. Leukoderma coli, why it is called as collar of Venus? Because here the residual depigmentation is seen over the neck area like a collar. It is also called as leukoderma coli. Now coming to the mucous membrane lesions. Mucous membrane lesion starts as a patch which is grayish white, which later on gets eroded, forming sharply defined superficial erosions. Okay? Surrounded by erythema and are highly infectious. Confluence of these form highly irregular and serpiginous erosions or ulcers, which are called as snail tract ulcers. These may be seen in oral as well as genital mucosa. Most common areas are the lips, the buccal mucosa, palate, tongue. This may also be seen over the glans penis, prepuce, vulval mucosa, vaginal orifice, cervix as well. Some other sites like pharynx and larynx can also be involved. And if those are involved, there will be hoarseness of voice associated with these lesions. See here, this lesion is seen. Here, this lesion is seen. And the other one I had already told, the other mucous membrane lesion. Sometimes condyloma lata may also be seen. Most common mucous membrane lesion is the snail tract ulcers. Second common is the condyloma lata. Now coming to the systemic manifestations. Systemic manifestations are usually non-specific like low-grade fever, malaise, myalgia, arthralgia, headache, etc. etc. In eyes there may be pain, photophobia, epiphora, redness, sometimes anterior uveitis may also be seen. Rarely occlusion of retinal vessels may also be seen. In the musculoskeletal system, periostitis, joint effusion, bursitis, osteomyelitis, and radiologically these may be seen as destructive lesion over the bones. In gastrointestinal system, erosions of the various mucosa, ulcers in the stomach, hepatitis as well may be seen. In renal lesions, acute membranous glomerulonephritis may be seen. In cardiac involvement, however, it is rare. Conduction defects may be seen. Neurological involvement asymptomatic usually. Sometimes raised intracranial pressure may be seen. Some cranial nerve palsies may be associated in secondary syphilis. However, these are rare in secondary syphilis. ठीक है और mostly there will be a positive VDRL of the CSF fluid that will be seen. Other features may not be seen. Hematological abnormalities, mild to moderate anemia, raised ESR and leukocytosis may be seen. Now coming to the histopathology of lesions of secondary syphilis, there will be epidermal hyperplasia, spongiosis and exocytosis of the lymphocytes. There will be dermal edema with inflammatory infiltrate consisting of lymphocytes and histiocytes, especially over the perivascular area. And in the vascular changes, there will be endothelial swelling and there will be vessel wall edema. In case of older lesions, granulomatous inflammation will be seen and there will be deployment of plasma cells. These we will be reading later on diagnosis and all. What happens after the secondary syphilis? After healing of the lesions of secondary syphilis, the patient enters a long phase of latency. In this phase of latency, if the patient is diagnosed with syphilis within 2 years of primary syphilis, is referred to as early latent syphilis. However, no clinical signs and symptoms are seen in this stage and diagnosis is totally based on findings of the positive reagent test and other specific tests of syphilis. Few other important topics like Shankar redux, I think I have already told. There is occasionally relapsing lesion that is seen in secondary syphilis at the site of initial primary Shankar. How it develops? It is as a result of proliferation of residual treponines at the site of inoculation. And then again another thing I had already, I think we have told that syphilis DMLI. It is a like it is a term which is given where the cases they don't show any primary syphilis stage and the patient directly present with features of secondary syphilis. This can be seen in what may be the reason is that the treponins may be deeply inoculated, like in case of puncture wounds, or maybe due to transmission of infected blood. And another important feature is lymphadenitis. Lymphadenitis, that is lymphadenopathy, is seen in secondary syphilis also, and there will be generalized lymphadenopathy seen in secondary syphilis. What are the most common sites of lymphadenopathy? Most common is the bilateral inguinal, axillary, cervical, epitrochlear and femoral. Again similar, the involved lymph nodes will be non-tender, they will be discrete, mobile on motion, and they will be non-suppurative and usually symmetrical. Bilaterally symmetrical enlargement will be seen. The consistency is firm and rubbery, which is also called as lead shot like lymphadenopathy. Now once the patient goes into latent syphilis, later on he may, after the early latent syphilis, they may present with late latent syphilis and tertiary syphilis, which we will be reading later on in the next class.